So I'm a huge fan of the show House of Cards, and I'm also a really huge fan of the show's introduction, which is a sequence of time lapses that are like rapid cuts. You only get a couple seconds of each time lapse, and they are depicting various scenes in DC. A lot of them famous landmarks, a lot of them random street corners. And earlier this semester, I built this time-lapse slide rig that I guess is intended to fit a GoPro, but for this project I was putting my phone on it a couple times too. And it will move this sled holding the camera about 3 feet in about an hour. So you can get a very slow pan, and that means that you can make stuff move in the foreground while everything's going really fast in the background because you're filming a time lapse, and it comes out really cool. But someone saw one of the videos that I made with this, and said that it reminded them of the House of Cards intro, and for me that just decided it. No matter how much trouble it was going to be, I was going to try to make a House of Cards intro of NC State stuff. And the problem with that is that you need an awful lot of clips. The House of Cards intro has like 30-some clips, and by the time I was done here, my final cut has 33, so I'm very happy. I didn't have to stretch any of them out in order to make them fit, and I really like the way it came out. When I first started with I think that making a time-lapse project with all sorts of stuff across campuses is a great idea, I didn't quite realize just how obnoxious some of them would be. I've spent a good amount of time in obscure places like the top of this random parking deck. Right now I have this camera going over here. This is actually the first time that I've used my phone with the slide rig, and it's currently looking at EB2. And over here I have the GoPro on the real tripod, and it's been going for probably an hour already, and I still haven't got what I want. Of course, Wolfram Alpha tells you the angle of the sun, so you can sort of guess when it's going to hit buildings, but if you don't know exactly where north-south is, or if you have clouds that are blocking the sun, your shots can sort of get messed up. So normally when I'm working on a project and filming it, my shooting ratio is really crazy. I film way more than makes it into the final product. And of course with time lapses that's even worse because you're filming and intending to accelerate the footage later. So most of what I took was 5 seconds per frame. If you do like 1 second per frame on the slide rig here, you really can't tell that it's moving. It's way too slow. And then most of that was actually accelerated further once it made it into the actual editing software. So in this case, I took, what was my final? Like 85 gigabytes of media for the project. Some of it saved as videos off my phone, some of it saved as stills off my phone, and some of it saved as stills off the GoPro. So, for example, most of it was GoPro, and I was taking one 8-megapixel shot every 5 seconds. So there's probably, I don't know, between 30 and 40 hours of shooting. Of course, some of that concurrent when I was running the static rig and the dynamic rig at the same time. And but it took a long time. And I compressed all that down and ended up with a clip that's like 1 minute and 37 seconds long. So that's like the worst of possible shooting ratios. I think a lot of the coolest shots are where you have something in the foreground that the camera is actually panning past very slowly, and that's what this rig is good for. But often you're filming something that's far away and it really doesn't matter. You can put a digital pan where it just looks like you're rotating the camera, and that comes out just fine. So for that you just need a regular tripod. This is the tripod that I used to use. It's made of PVC, and I have like a heat gun mount for my phone on there, but this actually fits my old phone, and it's all PVC and it's sort of rickety. Number 6 machine screws are not the beefiest building material that you can imagine. So this semester I actually finally broke down and bought a real tripod. This is like the Amazon Basics. I think it's the second cheapest tripod on Amazon, but it's actually real nice. And I have one of the little scrunchy phone clamps on the top so that I can put my phone on there. I also have a chuck for the GoPro that fits into 1/4-20. So if you're taking pictures of something that's far away, you can do this. And if you're taking pictures of something where there's something to pan past in the foreground, you can use this and get a lot of different looking shots, and makes it look really cool. So I was using a GoPro Hero 4 Session and an iPhone 6s to capture all of the clips that you see in this video. The GoPro was controlled from my phone with the stock GoPro app, and the pictures that I took from the phone were actually run from an app that I downloaded called ProCam that lets you do like interval stuff and time-lapse things, and comes out real nice. Once I was editing on the computer, I used a combination of the GoPro Studio and Virtual Dub to actually compile the time lapses, and then all of the editing and color tuning and titles and acceleration of clips and all that sort of stuff was done in PowerDirector 14 Ultra.
Sold as 1/4-inch plywood, but it's more like 1/5-inch plywood that I've laminated together so that there's no flex in it. And the key to the entire operation is this 3-foot long 1/4-20 threaded rod. It's like the cheapest threaded rod you can get. It's standard, and if you turn it very slowly, you can push something down the thread.